If you've removed old wall linings and you're preparing the framing for some new GIB plasterboard, you want to make sure it's as good as possible. If it's not, it will show up in the final product. I've gone over this wall and removed all the nails and fixings. I'm now going to use a straight edge to see if there are any other problems. As you can see here, I've already got a nog that's standing proud, and if I lift up the straight edge even further, there's a stud that's sitting back out of the line. Both of those are going to cause problems when the new plasterboard linings go on. The first job I want to look at is the nog. I want to make that flush with the stud, and to do that I'm going to use an electric planer. Before going any further though, I want to punch these nails below the surface of the timber so they don't damage the blade. When using an electric planer, it's easier to set the blade nice and low and make 2 or 3 passes removing a small amount of material every time than it is to set the blade very deep and remove too much material. Also, remember your safety equipment, earmuffs and goggles. Look at that, perfect, and that's going to show up in my final result. Now I'm going to look at the stud. The face of this stud was sitting back from the rest of them, so when I put my plasterboard linings on, that was going to show up. One way of fixing that is to put a packer in place here. Here's one I've already cut. I've ripped it down out of a piece of timber to the same thickness that the stud was sitting back from the rest of them. That's one way of doing it. However, I'm going to show you another way. By using a wedge and a circular saw, I can straighten the stud. I'll put a cut through here and then push the wedge into place, pulling out that stud so the face of it is level with the others around it. Now that I've made the cut, all I need to do is put the wedge in place, drive it in there, pulling the stud forward as I go until the face of this is level with the others. Once I've done that, I want to check the studs for straight. Look at that, perfect. All I need to do now is use a hand saw to trim off the face of that wedge and put a nail through to hold it in place. Now that I've nailed the wedge in place, I'm going to need to add a reinforcing piece of timber across the repair. To do that, I'm going to nail a new piece of timber to the stud along the side, extending at least 225 mils above and 225 mils below the repair. However, in this case, I've got a nog that's in the road, so I'm going to have to knock that out first, put the new piece of timber in place, and then replace this with a new nog. That's this part of the job finished. Now when I put my new plasterboard linings in place, this wall should just about be perfect. However, I have noticed down here, I am lacking some fixing for the ends of the new plasterboard sheets, so I'm going to put some more blocks in place. It's something you need to be aware of every time you put up new plasterboard linings. You may need to add more timber. Remember, relining a wall is like any other job. Getting a good foundation now is going to ensure a great final product later on.